Hi there, it's Professor Malat with hopefully some helpful tips on how you can successfully submit your written assignments to either Blackboard or the Canvas learning management system. So some of you in college courses have probably seen either in your syllabus or in a specific assignment that you cannot submit it as a link to a shared file, that you have to submit either as a doc, Microsoft Doc, Docx, or PDF file. This is especially the case in a lot of written work, essays that you do for English classes, and as well as other classes. Most instructors will not accept links to your outside accounts. And the reason for that, even though they might be able to view your documents, the reason that we want documents within the learning management system is because those documents then open up in a document viewer, both in Blackboard and Canvas, and allow the instructor to easily provide feedback, commentary, and make annotations on your document. And that way you can see where in your writing you need to make corrections or changes. So I'm going to share my screen here. And we'll take a look at my, we'll take a look at Canvas first, where I'm in my student view mode, and this is a submission area for where you submit your documents. Now, this assignment, it has been restricted so that you can only upload a file, right? So if you click on the upload, then it'll take you to your computer storage system and you can select the file. However, what happens if you don't have it saved to your computer? Well, here in my Canvas, I have allowed students to access their Microsoft OneDrive, and it will usually prompt a student to sign in if they're not already logged in. I am, so I can select the document that I want to upload and submit it, and it submits the document. And if I were signed in or if I had it enabled, I'm not allowed to sign in through Google Drive when I am masquerading as a student. So that's not available for me to show you, but it usually is available for students in my class. And it really depends on how your instructor has set things up. So that's Canvas, right? And usually we have the capability of restricting how students submit their work. However, in Blackboard, it's a little bit different. So I'm switching over to my Blackboard course. Again, I'm also in student view here on the submission page. Now in Blackboard, we have several different options. We have drag and drop files. So you could have your saving, the place where you save your documents open, you go into your file folder and you can drag and drop. Or you could, as it's stipulated in this assignment, use the paperclip to attach your file. When you click on that, again, it opens up your file explorer and you can access your files that way. Again, that doesn't solve the problem or answer the question of those students who may not have the capability of storing their documents on the computer. A lot of students might be working from a public computer. So my advice there is usually to have a flash drive. A flash drive is one of these little doodads, right? That you plug into the computer that you're using and it will open up and it acts as your file storage area. We also have cloud storage capabilities now. Most of the colleges and universities that I'm working with use Microsoft and have OneDrive or SharePoint as a place where students can access. Students, faculty, staff, everybody essentially can access their documents in that cloud storage. So if you have OneDrive, you can access your OneDrive and find your document that way. And will it let me share and drag and drop? No, it won't. I'd have to be logged into the same system. I'm using two different systems here, but Yes, the attachment is much better. So a lot of students will resort to using the link instead if they're like, well, I don't have a file that I can attach, but I do have the link to my file, and they feel that that is acceptable. So again, the confusion is there. A lot of students in their high schools have been using Google Classroom or using Google Docs to draft their documents, and their teachers have had access to their shared files and have made commentary through those shared files. But that is very time consuming when you have lots of different students across different campuses submitting work in a variety of places. So we really ask that students submit to one place within the learning management system. That way we don't have to track students down to get permission to look at their documents. Things should just open easily. It really cuts down on the amount of time that instructors spend on grading. So, in the old way, you would have just gone up to the share section and copied the link, or you would come over to the file and copy the link, right? You share and share with others. So the confusion there for many students is like, well, I can't save it as a Microsoft file or as a PDF because there's no option in that file menu. So it really has to do with the language that we're using. Instead, you need to look for the download drop-down menu, right? It's not, you're not saving it, but you're downloading it, or you download and save it that way, right? So here, when we open up the download menu, it opens up a drop-down menu with many different file formats. Of course, typically the most used ones for writing assignments are Docx and PDF. So once you download it as a Microsoft Word document, and you'll see that little arrow went up, at least on PCs. It might be different for Mac users, but on PCs, your downloads are up here in the top right-hand corner of the page, and you can access your file that way. Of course, you can also access your downloads folder in your File Explorer and access the document that way. And then you will then be able to correctly submit your assignment. So if I look at that paperclip attachment icon and I go into my downloads, I can find the correct formatted file and add it as my submission, right? And there you can see, that it's not a whole long name of a link, but in fact, the actual document itself that's being attached as a submission. The same thing for your OneDrive or SharePoint. So I'm just going to open up a file here to show you. This is the web application, right? It's not my regular Microsoft Word. You can see that down here. And again, you have that option to share or copy the link, which we don't want you to do in this case. So if you come over to the file menu, you'll see there is absolutely no wording here that says anything about sharing, right? Or saving. There's plenty of stuff about sharing, right? You could share with people, you could copy the link. It's similar to what you do up here. But instead, there's also no wording about downloading, right? So unlike in Google Docs, where you have that download and it opens up your a drop-down menu, instead, you're looking for export or create a copy. If you want to create a copy, you click on download a copy instead of create a copy online. Download a copy, and that will download again as a Microsoft Word Docx file. So once again, you'll be able to either come up to the top of your screen and access the download that way, or if you go away from your computer and you want to find it later, you would then once again go into your downloads folder and be able to find that document. If you prefer to have PDF file formats, then you would export it and download it as a PDF. So it's just a matter of learning where in the file menu you can actually download a copy of your file in the correct file format, both in Microsoft Word, web app, and Google Docs. So hopefully that clarifies things for you a bit. And, of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to troubleshoot for you. Thank you. Take care.